My name is Superfan K. After a few years of reviewing movies, I've come to YouTube with one goal: to talk about awesome shit. Now that I've started the Nation of Krypton, I can't be the man that I once was. In order to lead more people into the sun, I have to become someone else. I have to become something else. I am the sexiest man alive! Season 5 of Arrow is finally in the books. The finale happened back in May, and I have finally found the time to talk about it here today on my show. Can't even really believe that it's been 5 seasons of Arrow and that we're going to be getting a season 6 next year. I mean, it doesn't even really make sense to me. When did this thing come out? 2011, 2012? It's already been 5 years? Holy shit. Time flies when you're jumping off rooftops and being the CW version of Batman. There will be some mild spoilers for Season 5 here, just in case you don't want to know anything or you're not fully caught up. You might want to leave the video. I will get into some mild spoiler detail, but overall, I'll try to keep things a little bit vague. So the writers and producers said before Season 5, we're going to try to go back to the basics. Like, it's going to feel more like Season 1, Season 2, which, coming from someone who is not a huge fan of Season 3 and Season 4, in fact, I almost hate those seasons, this was very welcome news indeed, and I was very excited to say, I was like, oh, well, this could be really awesome if they handle it the right way. Luckily, they do handle it the right way because I think that this is the best season of Arrow since the first 2 seasons. Going back to that grounded, gritty style that Season 1 and Season 2 of Arrow have, it just kind of elevates the profile of the entire show as a whole. I think that Arrow works best when it is much more grounded, when it doesn't focus on mysticism and superpowers and metahumans, when they leave the rest of that to Supergirl and Flash and the rest of the Arrowverse. When they focus on street-level vigilantes kicking ass and they focus on personal conflicts, personal stories, and they try to get away from the whole big comic book world, I feel like that's when Arrow is at its best. This season, it really does go back to that grounded style. When you have the CW version of Batman, it needs to be dark and depressing. This also applies to the fight scenes and the action sequences, and the fight choreography here, for some reason, feels like Season 1 and Season 2 all over again. Yeah, it's not so obvious when they're using stunt doubles. They haven't nerfed Oliver down to an unrealistic degree where he's losing fights to people that he should mop the floor with. Looking at you, Season 4. Looking at you. And in general, I feel like the fight scenes in this season were helmed and shot a lot better than they were in Season 3 and Season 4. In this season, you have Oliver trying to manage a war on 2 fronts. He's the mayor of Star City. He has a lot of things politically that he has to figure out and he has to deal with. But he's also the Green Arrow. And then, okay, he gets stretched a little bit too thin, and then it becomes time to recruit another team. Yeah, Team Arrow has a few new faces this year. You still have Diggle, who's still old reliable. You know, he's Diggle. Diggle doesn't change too much. You still have Felicity there, who we'll talk about her in a little bit. But overall, you have a few new faces here. You have Renee as Wild Dog. You have Evelyn as Artemis. Bunny Ears. Curtis is back, and this time he takes on the full mantle of Mr. Terrific, and you have later on in the season, Dinah. Someone named Dinah comes in, and she becomes the new Black Canary. You know, because Laurel died and shit in Season 4. So how was Team Arrow utilized this season? It was kind of hit or miss, to be honest with you. Some of the characters had really compelling stories, and some of the characters kicked a lot of ass, and some of the characters I'm really excited to see going forward into Season 6. But some of the characters, didn't really land with me. They're either boring, or they're underdeveloped, or they're annoying as shit. One of the new standout characters was Renee as Wild Dog. Renee as Wild Dog was really, really awesome. I was surprised how much I cared about him by the end of the season. This is a guy that's got a really huge attitude problem. This is a guy that clashes with authority, but he's a guy that's also fiercely loyal. He can kick a lot of ass. He uses guns when he fights. Him and Lance have this really interesting bromance over the course of the season. You find yourself invested in Renee because they do focus on his backstory. They focus on his situation with his daughter and how that played out. And again, Lance, who has lost both of his daughters at various points over the last few seasons, can relate to Renee, and as a result, they develop a really cool bromance that I would love to see continue going forward into Season 6. Dinah was pretty good as the new Black Canary. I mean, I don't think we've had a definitive version of the Black Canary on the Arrow TV shows. The one thing I don't feel like they've gotten right. Sarah came closest, though. She was hot, she was sexy, she kicked ass, she was with Oliver. It was pretty cool, but other than that, I don't think that Black Canary has gotten her just due in Arrow yet, and in this season, I think we could see the potential. We see the potential of a really great Black Canary down the road. Again, this chick, she ties in very well with Oliver and his own personal backstory. She gets recruited to the team. She is a metahuman. She actually has the power of the sonic scream that Black Canary is supposed to have. And even though towards the end of the season, she kind of felt a little bit underutilized, she still had a really awesome fight scene with Black Siren, you know, basically Black Canary from another Earth. I'm really excited to see where they take her character going forward. There's a lot of different directions they could go. Pretty sure we're not going to see Green Arrow and her hook up for a while, though, because, yep, they're still pushing that Felicity bullshit. One dude playing Ragman, and other than this personal connection that he has with Felicity because she accidentally killed his family in the previous season, I don't really feel like he was given much to do, and then after a while on the show, he just kind of left and he was gone and he's not mentioned again, and I don't know if we're gonna see him again. Curtis is fine, he's okay or whatever. I can accept the fact that he's a wuss and a bitch and he gets his ass kicked because he's not that good a fighter yet. He has to develop, he has to grow, he has to learn, he has to take his lumps. I get it. The real reason why I don't really like Curtis that much is because he's basically a gay black version of Felicity. They have the same personality, they have the same style of doing things, so it's kind of like, why do you need two Felicities on the show? I already get irritated as shit when it comes to the regular Felicity. Why would you do that again with another one who's probably not even as funny as Felicity on her best days? Seriously, I just don't like Curtis because he's a very redundant character and he just doesn't mesh well with the rest of the team, in particular because they already have another Felicity on the team.
And how the hell does Curtis get his hair cornrowed for every mission so quick? How?
Speaking of Felicity, Felicity wasn't as irritating this season as she's been in previous seasons. Don't get me wrong, there are still a few episodes here or there where I'm just like, oh my god, I want to strangle you and pour bleach down your throat. Can we please kick this bitch off the show? But at the same time, she does have a compelling conflict that is driving her this season. She has this thing where she starts to go a little bit towards the dark side. She gets involved with this hacker group called Helix. And I feel like Helix is going to again play a role in future Arrow seasons. They just kind of set the seeds up in this season. It was nice to have Felicity having a story that doesn't revolve around I want to sleep with Oliver or I'm mad with Oliver. That was really cool. There's one huge flaw that I have in this season. It's the one thing that irritates me to no end. Artemis. They completely butchered Artemis. They ruined Artemis on the show. I am so pissed at what they did to Artemis. Well, they set her up as a character that's really boring and there's really no development, and then they made it really obvious that she is a mole inside Team Arrow working with the big bad of this season named Prometheus. And once she is outed as a mole, there's really no emotional fallout, there's really no impact from her being the mole, and then it's kind of like, she's not even an important character. You guys remember that 4-day crossover with Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow and Flash? During the crossover where you have aliens threatening the planet, Artemis was nowhere to be found. She wasn't here. She was gone, and no one on her team mentioned her or brought her up at all. Come on, writers. Seriously, if they don't care about her enough to mention her or at least reference where she is or what she's doing, why the hell should I care about her? Seriously, Artemis was such a waste of a character this season. She could have been really interesting, and instead they just kind of butchered it and crumbled it, and now I don't really care about Artemis anymore, which is a real bummer. Biggest star of this season, though, I gotta give hands down Prometheus. Adrian Chase, who sets up as the new DA in the season, is actually the main villain of the season, Prometheus. Prometheus is probably one of the most badass villains that Arrow has ever had. What I love about the villain this season is that he challenges Oliver psychologically and emotionally. Like, he challenges the very core of Green Arrow. He challenges who he is as a person. He challenges the whole crusade, like the whole reason that Oliver became the Green Arrow. And so I love a villain that tries to break down the hero, and he's not really after anything nefarious. Like, he's not trying to blow up the city, he's not trying to destroy the world, he's not after a big heist or anything. There is a really personal and tragic circumstance that unites these two and connects their pasts, and it really makes Prometheus stand out as a much more compelling villain than the ones we've gotten before. I mean, Prometheus also is one of those villains who is like 10 to 11 to 20 to 40 steps ahead of the heroes. This also adds a great sense of tension to the season because you never know what Prometheus is going to do, and even up to the very end of the season, he finds ways to surprise you, and that is one of my favorite aspects of season 5. I don't think he has the menacing intimidation factor of a Deathstroke from season 2, but suffice it to say that I think Prometheus is probably my second favorite all time in the history of the Arrow show. This season, I also really love Prometheus's theme. Prometheus has a great theme. Great theme for Prometheus. They couldn't have asked for better. I love the fact that they went back to the grounded tone overall that Arrow is really good at doing. And if nothing else, it proves my dedication because I grew out my beard, I grew out my facial hair just for this review so that I could match Oliver in the flashbacks on the island where he's all scraggly and hairy and he looks like a caveman. That is either extreme dedication on my part or it's complete bullshit and I just was too lazy to get my hair cut. But I'll let you guys decide and you better make the right choice. As I wanted to hold back and I didn't want to give this season the high praise that I give season 1 and season 2, but I think I have to give season 5 my highest rating. Yeah, it's shocking. I don't know how or why that happened, but it's going to happen. Season 5 of Arrow. Superman Prime in the Arrowverse. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on Season 5 of Arrow with the cliffhanger in the finale at the end. What do you think is going to happen in the premiere of Season 6 in October? Comment below, let me know about it, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace!